When people talk about dark literature, they often mean violence, gore, or horror. But Fyodor Dostoevsky's darkness is different. It's the darkness of a human being alone with their thoughts at 3 a.m., asking, what if there is no God? What if everything is permitted? And what kind of person am I, really? Dostoevsky was born in 1821 in Moscow and died in 1881 in St Petersburg. He lived through poverty, family tragedy, political suspicion, prison, exile in Siberia, and a lifelong struggle with epilepsy and gambling. His life was not just background to his novels, it was raw material. In 1849, he was arrested with other members of the Petrashevsky Circle, a group that discussed banned books and radical ideas. After months in prison, he was taken to a square, lined up in front of a firing squad. And at the last moment, a messenger arrived announcing that the Tsar had mercifully commuted the sentence to hard labor in Siberia. It was a staged, mock execution. The experience marked him forever, and echoes of it appear later in his novel, The Idiot, and in his obsession with death, time, and second chances. He then spent 4 years in a Siberian prison camp, surrounded by murderers, thieves, and political prisoners, an experience he transformed into the semi-autobiographical The House of the Dead. There he saw both extreme cruelty and unexpected kindness, and he began to believe that even the worst people carry a spark of humanity that can be reached through suffering, humility, and love. After exile, drowning in debt and haunted by epileptic seizures, he wrote the novels that made him immortal. In Crime and Punishment, we follow Raskolnikov, a poor former student in St. Petersburg who murders an old pawnbroker, telling himself it's for a greater good, that extraordinary men can step over inferior people for the sake of higher goals. Once the crime is done, his theory collapses under the weight of guilt, paranoia, and spiritual sickness. The book is a deep attack on nihilism, cold rationalism, and the idea that human beings can be reduced to calculations and utility. In The Idiot, Dostoevsky tries to imagine a perfectly good man, Prince Mishkin, and drops him into a corrupt, cynical society. Mishkin's innocence and compassion expose the greed, pride, and cruelty of those around him. But goodness in a broken world is not safe. It is fragile, and it suffers. In Demons, also known as The Devils or The Possessed, he shows a provincial Russian town collapsing into chaos under the influence of radical revolutionaries and moral nihilists. Dostoevsky turns political extremism into a kind of possession, a swarm of demons of atheism, pride, and hatred that tear people and communities apart. And in his final masterpiece, The Brothers Karamazov, he gathers almost all his obsessions into one huge story: faith and doubt, fathers and sons, freedom and responsibility, the problem of innocent suffering, and the terrifying possibility that if God does not exist, everything is permitted. The Grand Inquisitor chapter alone has been debated by philosophers and theologians for more than a century. Across all these works, certain themes repeat: suffering and redemption. Pain can destroy a person, or it can break their pride and lead to compassion, confession, and a new life. Freedom and responsibility. If we are free, then we are also responsible for the harm we do, even inside our own thoughts. Faith versus nihilism. He constantly stages a battle between belief in a meaningful universe and the temptation to believe in nothing at all. The depth of the human psyche. Long monologues, inner debates, and sudden breakdowns that feel almost like early psychology, long before Freud. Dostoevsky's influence is huge. Existentialist thinkers like Sartre and Camus, psychologists, theologians, and modern novelists all respond to his questions, whether they agree with him or not. Many readers say that after reading Dostoevsky, other novels feel shallow. If you're new to him, a few good starting points are Crime and Punishment, for an intense psychological thriller about crime and conscience. Notes from Underground, a short, furious monologue from a man who hates himself and the world. The Brothers Karamazov, for a vast philosophical family drama. The Dream of a Ridiculous Man. A shorter story about nihilism, a dream of a perfect world, and the possibility of change. If you want to explore Dostoevsky's work, I've put together a selection of his books on Amazon, different translations of the major novels and some shorter works if you want to start small. You'll find my Amazon affiliate link clearly shown in the video description and also in the first pinned comment below. If you decide to get any of his books through that link, I may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you, which helps me keep making videos like this. Tell me in the comments, which Dostoevsky question hits you hardest? Is everything permitted? Can suffering save a soul? Or, what kind of person are you when no one is watching? Subscribe to Black Butterfly Key for more deep dives into dark classics, haunted minds, and the writers who stared straight into the abyss. Thanks for watching.